Hey, I'm Adam Thompson. I'm a consultant in strategy and organisational design, and today I want to show you why your show is naturally in a state of constant overload and chaos. Let's get right into it. Guru alert, this comes from some of the ideas of Eli Goldratt.
What am I talking about?
Now, this is my favourite diagram. Those I've worked with for a while know it pretty well. Here's our work system. It needs to go from A through B through C to get our final output. Now, don't get fooled. This is just put in a linear way so it's easy to see. But in the workplace, whenever you have to work on something, then you send it to someone else, even though it might go from there, across to there, round to there, over to there. If you could look at the way it goes around the office, it's actually the way a thing goes around in a factory. At each machine, it actually gets something added to it until it eventually comes out the other side. So just sticking in some arrows, there we have it, A to B to C. Now let's talk about how much work each one of these stations can produce. I'm going to put some of these numbers in. So now we've got 5, 5 and 15. So this system's going to work okay in the sense that A can produce 5, which can go to B, who can also produce 5, go to C. C's going to get a little bit bored maybe, but the thing overall is going to be producing 5. Happy days. Now let's talk about how it works in the workplace. We're going to put on something extra now. 2 more people sitting over there. So now what we've got is D and E have joined the party, and they also need B to do something. So now what we can pretty quickly see is that B can produce 5. Now B is overloaded with a total of, let's do some quick maths, 14. So life is not going to be very well for B. Now it might seem obvious what we need to do. We need to increase the capacity of B. This is one of the things Goldratt talks about. Before we do that, we slow everything down, because if B can only go at 5, there's no point in hassling B and making things go faster. Because if B can only go at 5, there's no point in hassling B and making things go faster. But the question you might ask is, why does this happen?
Why are people so unkind?
And let me explain what's going on here. This is the key to this video. Obsession with utilization. It's a natural human thing. You feel useless sitting around doing nothing. We inflict KPIs onto people, and look at it in the case of actual physical machines. If you've gone and invested $3 million in a new machine, you want to see that bloody thing working. So what we have is an obsession with utilization. Look at the way projects are done. You'll have all the resources in the organization, and you'll be tracking the utilization rate of each individual person. It's part of our culture, and we're that used to it. So let's apply utilization rate to here. Each one of these A, D and E are incentivized to produce exactly the amount they can, which is 6, 5 and 3.
You look for the person who will benefit and, you know.
So what are they going to produce? They're naturally going to combine to produce 14 going into B. Now B cannot produce 5 in these sort of conditions. So B's utilization rate is going to drop below 100% because of the hassles, because of all the demand coming towards them. And the most that C can produce, the most is going to be 33%. So it's the way the system is designed and set up itself, which is guaranteed to cause a clogging situation. And of course, when people don't get their stuff, they start calling in, and you get this repeating thing occurring until gradually B grinds to a halt, which is probably what's going on in your organization. So what do we need to do? Well, we need to first change the measures to make sure that what people are measured on is the actual production of the full system. Because if you're not making some actual changes along those sorts of lines, you might say to people, I want you to work on behalf of the full system, but if people are being measured in the end on their own personal utilization, it's asking a lot for them to suddenly change their minds about that.
Don't try to strike everybody out. Strikeouts are boring. Besides that, they're fascist.
So I just want to give you some steps that you can apply to help this situation through. One is to talk about this. Actually present a diagram just like this one here, so that people can actually see what's going on, so they can have some understanding. The second thing is to make sure you make that wider goal clear, the one I was just speaking about before, so everyone can see it. Then the third thing we do is change the tangibles. And what I mean by tangibles are the way work is actually managed. So in the case of that, for the group stuff, make sure there is visuals in terms of how the work of the whole area is going, how projects are moving through, the feedback loops you've got from your operational parts of the business, to make sure that everyone can see how the overall goal is being achieved. And then for the tangibles, make sure for individuals that you are putting in place some sort of measures and KPIs that reflect in some way their contribution to the whole system. You want to create a reason why people will be incentivized to actually have a conversation across the system, and ultimately you want D, A and E all working together to help out B until such time as we can look at the way the whole system fits together and make it work better. Unless you change this, we can do all the kumbaya in the world, but the actual nature and the design of the system itself is going to put you back into clogged chaos in the end. That's all for now. I'll see you next time.
Shit.